Hey everyone, it's Ollie from Mashup Games. Last weekend, I took a break from playing with trains and USBs to have a go at the Game Maker's Toolkit Game Jam. And this year the theme was built to scale, which is interesting, you know, it seems a little bit familiar. It's like I've heard a similar theme before in a game jam I've hosted in the past, you know, the suggestive one. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to this game jam, and not just because the theme is good, but because this time I'm joined by Dryden. You may recognise Dryden from his appearance in some Blackthorn prod videos, or from his 100-day development challenge to finish Disinherited. One day I just asked him if he wanted to make a game together for the jam, and he was like, "Who are you and how did you get in my house?" Which, you know, was a silly question because the window was open. Big pitch right here. What do you think about trains?
No.
Thomas began to cry.
What about if you had a ship of some kind, where you had to transport cargo, you had to kind of stack it into the small space of the ship, but you also don't want to overstack it in case you make the ship too heavy and sink. But it's like, yeah, scaling in terms of like how many things you bring over, and scale in terms of weight too. The ship game could also be built to sail.
That is actually really good. What if it's like an ant colony that is like shipping their little candies that they've found across puddles or something? You know, either you're piloting the ship or you are somehow organizing the direction of the ship.
It is possible to do both, but in terms of what's most important, it would be probably building the ship and the cargo part.
Let's roll with it.
Yeah.
So what do we need?
We actually get to call it Built to Sail. Yes. So we had our idea for the jam and we started straight away. First model I made was this raft made out of wooden sticks. And as you can see, I've decided to have a go at painting the textures. It was my first attempt at trying texture painting in Blender, and though it definitely wasn't easy and I had some difficulty, I am quite satisfied with how it's looking. Then I modelled some rocks, modelled a river dock platform, and drew up this ant illustration. The time now was about 11 PM, and so I decided to be a sensible adult and logged off and went to bed. Since Dryden lives in the US, his time zone is 6 hours behind, so while I was sleeping, he was working away at the gameplay. After a good night's rest, I started day 2 in high spirits, looking forward to seeing what Dryden's cooked up.
Good morning.
Good morning. God, that sounds like a tired guy. You alright?
So you can grab these little guys. Oh, there's some wackiness with it. So, and you can put them on. And then these are now selectable, so you can come in here. And you may set sail, and it kind of tilts toward the direction of...
Oh, very cool.
Probably won't like actually adjust this stuff like in the real game while it's rolling. You can go with multiple at once. That's probably too much speed added. And then I don't know. So it could be like a thing where you have like your ant people and they're over here and they're like automatically unloaded. Ooh, what is that?
Have a nice sleep. Rest up.
Bye.
My idea for the ants were to try and give them some human characteristics, as long as I don't make them too human. And I think I managed to achieve that pretty well. After bringing it into Unity, I made some animations to accompany them. Running? Yeah, that'll do. Or at least it'll have to, because I spent nearly 4 hours making this ant. I also modelled a twig to replace the cylinder Dryden put in the raft, and modelled some fruits too. You got grapes, apple slices, and strawberries. I also made this straw hut propped up by what's meant to be bark. This will be important later. And by later, I mean now! After wasting so much time making art, I hopped into the codebase and started doing some programming. The plan is this. The ants stand at the other side of the river and request fruits. When the player manages to bring the fruits over to the ant, the docking platform lets the ant know a raft has arrived. The ant then queries, does this raft have any fruit that I want? If it does, then the ant takes the fruit off the raft, walks to the hut, and deposits the fruit. It was pretty quick to whip up some UI icons for the fruit, and then I did some quick coding before hopping online. Waking up on day 3 was, well, it was a bit hard. Doing game jams were much easier when I did them at university and during lockdown, but after a full week of work and doing this all Saturday, I was starting to feel a little worn out.
I looked at your Switch case state machine and I was like, it's so scary. But I got it working so that if you tilt over a certain point, then it capsizes and flips. And now instead of kind of just like tilting to the whatever the weight is, it gradually adds more as it goes. So you can
Yeah.
see it saying goodbye, and then it flips over. When you fulfill a request, you get sugar. I figured that would be the currency of ants.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. I'm guessing from all this talk, we're just having the one level. I feel like it would be a bit silly to have more than one.
I think so too. I think it's kind of just like you just go as far as you can. And I'm kind of just exhausted. So there's so much left to do right now.
Oh.
So we should probably call it.
Yeah, call it the weekend. We have a gameplay loop, so we've got something good. Just I've got to make it look nicer and then just polish, and yeah. My biggest task this morning was definitely making the environment look nicer. At the moment, it looks very much still a prototype stage, so I whipped out my art skills once more, and my word does it make a difference. Before, the game was about transporting fruit across a river to give to ants, and now, well, the game's the same, but in HD. First, I removed these planes and added in terrain so I could get more control over the shape of the river. Next, I took this texture from Railway Life and changed it to brown. Now you got dirt. I drew a leaf, copied a lot and varied the colours, and flattened it into a new texture to paint on top of the dirt. Next, the water. Layering some noise textures gives some variation, and if I sample some gradients, I can have more control. I wanted there to be a waterfall too, so I got the normal of the mesh and used the inverted white value to lerp between the base water and the white colour. The lighting was done in two ways. I applied a texture I made as a cookie for the main light to get the spotted light patches. And I made a shader using more gradient noise to get a god ray effect on these cylinders. Last thing was to add these tree stumps to give the illusion of there being big trees, and it also helps sell more the small size of the stream and the world. Time is running out, and we are aiming for the 48-hour mark, so I was trying really hard to polish and add just little things here and there to improve the gameplay experience. I tidied the food production UI so it's a bit clearer, and another UI I tried to change was having the ants requests be always visible on screen. This took a lot longer than I hoped, as it just didn't seem to work, and even now doesn't really work well. And this just about broke me. I was exhausted, I was worn out, and I was overwhelmed with how much there was I needed to add to the game, and so I just didn't. I submitted it, I closed down my computer, and I just crashed. And so that was the game we made for the GMTK Jam. It was really fun to work with Dryden, and I really got to learn some new things with 3D modelling and texture painting. And after all that, I've still got the Game Jam itch, which is why I'll be participating in the Mashup Game Jam 2024, which runs from August 30th to September 6th. The Game Jam is going to be really fun, and you should definitely join it through the link below. And if you want to play the Ant game, a link to the game page will be in the description below. Also, check out Dryden's channel too, he's a really cool guy. Anyway, hope you really enjoyed this video, and I'll see you August 30th. Bye!